Okay, I think I'm good. Okay, let's talk about our syllabus today. So I want you guys to get out your syllabus, and we are going to go over it. I'm gonna try to get over it pretty quickly, so we're not going on into tomorrow, because I have some very specific things I want to talk about with you guys tomorrow. So let's just look at it. So A&P course description, it says, student will conduct laboratory and field investigations, which we will do again, lots of. Use scientific methods during investigations, and make informed decisions using critical thinking and scientific problem solving. So lots of labs, lots of activities, lots of brain power in this class. So be ready. We will actually begin the year with just a basic kind of a medical terminology, learning the basics of our terminology. And we'll go through every body system virtually. Now, kind of depends on time. Last year, we had all those days out over right before Christmas. That really threw us off. So we were kind of behind, and we had to skip a couple. And if that happens, it'll be fun. I'll just let you know what we've skipped, so you'll know that whenever you get to school and whenever you take this class in college, you'll know what you really need to make sure that you learn well. Prerequisites are just 3 credits of science. Yeah, biology, chemistry, and physics. Again, I told you guys about myself yesterday. I'm a registered nurse. I do have my degree, but I also have my teaching certificate. Went back to school, took another 18 hours of master's level courses to be able to do that. So expectations. It says you are expected to effectively contribute. Okay, so effectively means that when you contribute to class discussion, when you contribute in groups, when you ask questions, when you come in here, the things that you do are effective and beneficial to the class. Okay, you're not asking nonsense questions, which questions, some people are like, oh, there's no dumb question. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that that's the case. I want you guys to feel free to ask whatever questions you want, but let's stay on task, basically. But you need to effectively contribute. If you're in a group project, I expect everybody in the group to take part. Now, you may be better at one thing than the other, so do what you're good at, and that's fine. I will, if we're doing discussion, a lot of times I'll pull the cup out that has everybody's names on it. I'll pull a name out. I'll expect you to answer. So be prepped for that. When I was in college, we had our anatomy and physiology teacher. He was just the hardest teacher I've ever had. I mean, he wrote his own anatomy and physiology textbook for us to use in class, and it's like this thick. I have it back here, and I don't even understand it now, and I teach it. So, anyways, it was insanely difficult, and that was one of the things that he would always do. Either got 100 or a 0, and he would randomly pick on people to ask questions to. Okay, it says you'll work in groups or pairs frequently, which we do, and are expected to do so willingly and with effort. Okay, it really, really, really gets under my skin when people say, can I just work by myself, or I don't want to work with that person. One, you guys are old enough to know that you're just going to have to work with people, and that's the way life is. Every job you work at, there's going to be people who are hard to work with, there's going to be people you don't like, and that's just the way it is. You got to learn to live with it. As your ability in the working world will heavily depend on how well you work with others. All students are expected to follow the rules of the classroom as well as any of the rules of any places we may visit. If we go visit somewhere, I expect you to follow the rules there. Participation grades will be taken quite frequently. Field trips. So in order to participate in any field trips, you must be passing all classes at the time of the trip. not last 6 weeks, at the time of the trip. Signed permission slip will be required, and then, of course, all school policies, dress code, everything else will need to be followed. Classroom rules. Okay, we'll hang out here for a minute. Classroom rules. So be respectful. And they're posted up here at the front of my classroom, and these are important. You actually will have a quiz over these classroom rules tomorrow, so be prepared for that. Now, there's a lot that goes into be respectful. Firstly, I want you to respect me. And I've done the work I needed to do to get to this job. I have my degree. I have my certification. I've been through high school. I've had anatomy classes. I've had the physiology classes. I've worked as a nurse. I've worked here. I've done enough to start out with your respect. So I expect that, and I demand that, and up front. Secondly, you guys need to be respectful of each other. Okay, I've had classes before where people are so hateful to each other. And one of the rules in my class is that when you're in this class, we're going to talk about anatomy and physiology. So however you can shift your conversation into talking about science, I'm game. But we're not going to talk about people who aren't in here to defend themselves, and we're not going to be ugly and rude to each other. We're just not. It's not an option in here. And so if you hear that going on, you best remind them to stop, because I will. The third thing I need you guys to respect is the equipment in this classroom. Okay, our microscopes, I've ordered us a set of microscopes. Okay, they're $400 a piece. These are not like the microscopes you used in 7th grade to look at pond water. Okay, these are high-powered microscopes, and we're going to learn in the next beginning of next week how to use a microscope appropriately, how to use it correctly, how to carry it. I want you guys to know. I don't want you guys to get to college and realize that you don't know how to use a microscope. You need to know how to use one, and we're going to teach you. And these are good ones that you can actually see what you're looking at. So and that's just one example. A mannequin back here, not somebody to be played with. Okay, she's $700. So please don't do anything. Okay, I don't want you guys to have to pay for it. Okay, I have lots of equipment in here, and I spend a lot of money on this class to get our labs done. I want us to be able to do that. And if you don't respect the equipment and you don't respect the supplies and everything that we have in here, we won't be able to. Number 2 is have integrity. Okay, and integrity, if any of you guys have had me in class before, you know that integrity is a really important word for me. Integrity is doing what's right, even when nobody else cares or sees or wants you to do right. You just do it because there's something in you. It's integrity is what it's called, but there's something in you that says, this is what I need to do. And so that's something that is really important in this class, especially since I won't be here all the time. It's always important. But there's a couple ways I define integrity. Again, making the right decision when nobody else is watching. That says that you, within yourself, are honest, that you are willing to do what's right, even if it costs you something, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's, difficult. And that is so important to employers. I remember, I have the job that I had before a management job. I remember I had my boss told me, she said, the thing is, you got this job. One of the reasons you got this job is because when you make mistakes, you own up to them. But not only do you own up to them, you fix it, you try to make it better, and you figure out a way to prevent it in the future. Hold on just a second. And I will mail y'all CPR cards whenever I get them in.
Okay.
I feel so late.
Thank you.
Yay. Good luck.
Yeah,
So your CNA class didn't make it.
Nope.
But then hopefully in July.
Mine starts June 23rd.
Okay.
The next class is
Okay.
Bye.
Sorry. Although today is the graduation practice, so I've got some people running in and out. But if I stop it, I'll have to start all over, and I don't want to do that. I think, anyway. Maybe I don't. I don't know. I'll figure it out. So, anyways, but integrity. The other way I describe integrity is, and this always sticks with everybody, but honestly, integrity is like when you guys go to Walmart, okay, and you take your buggy out to your car, don't leave your buggy in a parking spot so that someone else can't get into the parking spot. What if a little old lady, that's the only parking spot she can find, and here you've filled it up with a cart when you could have taken it into things. So put your carts where the carts go at Walmart. And that sounds stupid and silly, and I know you guys are probably laughing. But honestly, integrity is about doing what's right, even when nobody's watching, when nobody cares if you do what's right. There's going to be lots of times in your life when nobody else cares that you do the right thing, but you still do it because there's something in you that says, I'm going to do the right thing because this is what I do, and that's integrity. If you pull something off the rack on accident or drop it at Walmart or drop it at wherever you're shopping. I do shop more places than Walmart, but anyways. Pick it back up. Don't make somebody else pick up your mess after you when you can just as easily do that. I don't care if it's their job or not. Same thing when you're at a restaurant. Just because a waiter or a waitress is waiting on you doesn't mean they should have to, doesn't give you the right to just say, well, that's their job, they can clean it up or they can do this. Just have respect for people and have some integrity. Take care of your own business. Come prepared. Okay, so prepared means you bring your materials, you bring your book, you bring something to write with, which reminds me. Sorry, I keep thinking of things that I forgot. But so you bring your book, and you're going to need your book. Every day we have lecture, you're going to need your book. Every day you need it anyway. Paper, pens, I prefer black pens, just because that's what you use in healthcare, for the most part. It means that you come in with an attitude that says, I'm ready to get to work, and I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to work with whoever else I'm working with. Your attitude is a big part of coming in here prepared. If you come in here and sleep every day, I promise you it will just be ridiculously hard for you to pass this class because there's just so much information. So that's what that means. Come prepared. Be ready to learn. Take ownership of your choices. This goes a long way with me, okay? No, I'm not saying cheat so that, and then you come tell me, hey, I cheated, but then get mad at me for disciplining you. Like I'm saying, take ownership. So if you choose not to study, that means you chose to make the bad grade. If you choose not to take notes, or if you choose to sleep in class, then you're choosing the consequences of that action. And you need to own up to that. Like, be responsible for that. That's something that you, I mean, honestly, if that's what you choose to do, then that's the way it is. Don't blame that on me or anybody else around. And that also means if you do something wrong, let me know. If you break something in lab, let me know. If you, if you make I don't know, whatever it is, whatever your bad decision is, own up to it. Tell me. I promise you, I will have a lot more respect for you if you just own up to it than if I figure out that you try to cover it up or fix it. Okay, 5 is convince the teacher that you're doing your best. And this one is big for me. Notice it says convince the teacher, not I did my best on that or whatever. I need to be convinced that you're working as hard as you can. And that's a classroom law, which means if you don't follow it, I can discipline you for that. So convince me that you're doing everything you can to pass this class, or to do the best that you can in here. I need to be convinced. Going back to integrity for a minute, cheating is something I've had problems with in the past.
China Fonseca, come to the office. China Fonseca, come to the office, please.
Not necessarily me personally, but I've had that problem in class before. And I can just tell you right now, I'm not a big grudge holder or anything like that, but if you cheat in my class, I will lose a lot of respect for you. And I mean, it's really hard for me to, you'll be on my radar all year long. And I don't know, when you work really hard, I tend to be more lenient whenever it comes down to the wire. But if you don't, cheating is that is like on my list of things that you can do wrong. That is like way down here. I won't have respect for you. I will not have a lot of patience for you in class. And it just says a lot to me. And I'm just telling you, if you cheat in my class, don't ever put me down for a reference, because you won't want my reference. Because in my mind, once you cheat, you've shown that's not having integrity, and I wouldn't hire you. If you cheated in my class and I was somebody you're trying to get a job from someday, I wouldn't hire you. Because if there's something in you that's okay with that now, how do I know that 5 years from now you're not going to be okay with cheating when somebody needs their medicine and you decide that, well, I don't have time to give it, so I'll just write down that I gave it and not give it. Or maybe you've got a drug problem and you're stealing somebody's morphine. It's no different. Cheating is stealing, and you're stealing someone else's thoughts. You're stealing their answers, and it's not your work. In college, you get kicked out of college for that. It's not anything to play around with. So I would rather you try your hardest and make a 60 in here than make a 90 because you copied off of somebody's papers all year long. I would rather hire someone, if I'm an employer, I would rather hire a person who made a 60 doing their best than a 90 cheating any day. Your grades, it's the same policy as everybody else. Daily grades, participation, homework, any quizzes, those are always daily grades. And then any tests or projects will always be test grades. Typically will have at least 3 test grades in 6 weeks. These first few weeks, especially this first one's kind of hard to get in 3, so it may just be 2, but any projects or presentations are always test grades too. And you'll get a rubric for those too. You'll know how it'll be graded. Tests, pretty much given over every unit. Sometimes I combine them. Sometimes there might be 2 tests in a unit. Like when we get to the muscle chapter, there's a muscle test, like a labeling test, and then there's the actual muscle, like the physiology part of it. All tests are comprehensive, so you can expect to see old information on any test. And you're not going to see a lot of it, but you might see a couple of questions. Please keep up with your studies. Don't wait till the last day to study. You will not do well. It's not enough. Ask some people I had in class last year. It says if you're absent during a test, it is your responsibility to set up a time to make that up. And keep in mind that you've got 2 days from your absence. So 2 days after you get back from your absence to make that up, unless it was some extenuating circumstance and whatever. Other than that, it's going to be late, and I'm going to stick with this policy because when people wait 3 or 4 weeks to take a test, 1, it drives me crazy, and 2, we just can't be that unorganized, not with me not being here. And so that's the way it is. You got 2 days to make it up. Then it's a late grade, and then you got 2 days to make it up for a late grade. If you don't make it up after that, it's 0, and I'm not going back and doing it. The other thing I want you guys to know about tests, I have one more thing. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe I'll think of it in a minute. Materials, you guys just need black pens. Make sure you've got notebook paper. Make sure that you've got some kind of binder. Oh, this is what I was going to tell you. Make sure you got some kind of binder. Probably going to need at least 1.5 inches binder. You get lots of notes in this class, and I would really encourage you guys to keep them because when you get to college, you might not get notes that are that detailed, and you'll want them. Here's what I was going to tell you. You need to make sure that you keep every test that we take. Keep every single test that we take because you that's your semester exam review. Okay, so that's your semester exam review or your test. I do not hand out a review. I'm not going to give you copies of old tests. You have to keep up with your own test. And my encouragement is that you correct them as soon as you take it while it's still on your mind. Because if you wait till the semester and you've got, 12 or 13 tests to correct, it's going to be really hard to get that done. So correct them when you get them back, and keep them. Keep all of your tests because you'll want them. You'll be upset if you didn't. Extra credit, okay? So some good news. It says any time during the first 5 weeks of each 6 weeks, or in this case it's 4 weeks because we've only got 5-week grading periods. So I write a 1-page summary of an article from a health science journal. So at the back of my class, on that black shelf, there are, you can grab the papers that talk about the extra credit. There's magazines back there. You guys are welcome to get and read those. You're welcome to look up an article online. It has to have to do with health science in some form or fashion. And you have to follow the instructions explicitly or you will not get the full credit. So make sure you're doing that. It's a 1-page summary, double-spaced. Okay, 1 page is not very much. Read an article, write a summary over it. Make sure you have your bibliography so that you can give the bibliographical reference of that article. If you don't know how to do that, come ask. Okay, but don't ask the day that it's due. Don't wait till then to ask. And we'll do it together. I would be happy to help you do that bibliographical reference. Hopefully you guys have an idea of what that is. But it talks about as if you're on a 9-week grading period, you may do up to 3 extra credit, and that's actually from the online classes, so you can just ignore that part. So, but they are always extra credit. You can do 2 of 6 weeks, and each one is worth 5 points on a test grade. 5 points on a test grade, each one. Okay, and I promise you guys, you're gonna first 6 weeks, nobody ever does extra credit. Second 6 weeks, I have a whole lot of people do extra credit. You can do it the first week of the 6 weeks if you want, and I'll go ahead and put it in and be done with it every grading period. But just know that it's always due the Friday before the last week of the grading period. So like this first 6 weeks, you would have to turn them in by September 19th in order for me to give you credit for them. If not, if you don't turn them in until the next week, they're just going to go on the next 6 weeks. I will not take them past that Friday. I will not take them. I've turned people down plenty of times. Hall passes. Each of you guys will get 2 hall passes. Is that everything I need to do? tomorrow or today. Okay. Each of you guys will get 2 hall passes. They're specifically for my class. Okay. You'll get 2 per grading period, basically. And they can only be used within that grading period. They'll all be different colors, so that you can't do that. Every time that you need to leave the classroom to make a phone call, go to the bathroom, go to your locker, go talk to somebody out in the hall, whatever reason you might need to leave my classroom, you have to hand over one of your hall passes to me or the instructor, whoever's here. And we'll take them up. You can't use them, okay? Now, I would put my name on the back of my hall passes, by the way, because other people might use them. But if you run out, which is you only get 2, you can't leave the classroom, okay? Unless they call you overhead to go to the office, or you're about to die of sickness or about to throw up somewhere, you're not leaving my classroom. So you better save your 2 hall passes for an emergency. The other reason you want to save your hall passes is because at the end of the 6 weeks, if you have not used them, you can turn them back into me and get 5 points per hall pass on your lowest test grade. So you actually have an opportunity for 20 points of extra credit, which is a lot, especially in here. So I want you to know that you have that opportunity. Again, first 6 weeks, everybody always uses their hall passes. Second 6 weeks, nobody. So when you say, hey, can I go to the bathroom? I'm going to say, is it worth 5 points? And you're going to say, I don't think so. So keep them, okay? Now, if you lose them, it's your loss, okay? They are your responsibility. If you lose a hall pass, you're not getting out of my classroom and you're not getting your 5 points, okay? If you were absent the first day of the 6 weeks and you didn't get yours, you need to ask for them, okay? So that you can get them. Don't get to the end of the 6 weeks and then expect me to give it to you. You're fine. So, yeah, but you won't be able to leave. So just be aware of that. Keep up with them. Don't let anybody borrow them. Don't lose them. Makeup work, you'll be allowed 2 days to finish any makeup work. Again, it's your responsibility to pick up late work. This folder right here, this is the anatomy and physiology tab, and anything that's anybody who's absent, I'll write your name on it. Any extra papers that we have, they all go in there. So you take your weekly paper. Oh, well, it's Wednesday or it's Thursday. The rules. I wonder if I have the rules. Go look. Get it out of there. That's where it would be. So if for some reason you can't find something, let me know. Maybe somebody took yours or who knows. Late work. Again, you'll be allowed 2 days to finish any late work. Highest grade that you can earn is a 70. And that's at the end of the year, unless they change these policies at the beginning of the year, which is, that could easily happen. That will trump whatever it says on my syllabus. If they change the handbook and they change up any late work or absence policies, that will trump what's in here. I'm just giving you what I have at the end of the year because that's when I'm making this. But there won't be any more opportunity to turn it in after that, and I will not accept it. So keep that in mind. The back page of this is something that I need you guys to take this home. I want you and your parents to go over the syllabus together, okay? Because I don't want them calling up here and saying, why wouldn't you give my kid extra credit? And it's all right here, okay? So they need to sign it. You need to sign it. And then bring this. You can keep the syllabus in your notebook and bring this paper back signed. Again, if you guys have any questions, you're welcome to email me. You can ask the instructor and they can call, whatever. Those are some things that we will need. So anyways, make sure you finish whatever you didn't finish yesterday, your cards or getting out textbooks or whatever. And other than that, we're going to have a good year. So I'm excited.